Welcome to the 2013 DK Vine Character Hall of Fame induction ceremony! Tonight, for the first time ever, we'll be inducting 5 characters from the Donkey Kong universe. These are characters that transcend being merely gameplay tools and have decisively impacted the lives of all who have witnessed them throughout their many appearances. You may be asking, just how do you decide who gets inducted? Well, we've assembled a team of experts on the subject. Current and former staff members of DKVine.com, the premier Donkey Kong Universe fan site, as well as staff members from renowned UK game developer Rare, the studio behind the vast majority of games from the DKU, at least the ones that weren't complete shit. Upon setting the parameters of how the voting works, we decided on the following. DK Vine staff would get up to 5 votes each, 1 for each Donkey Kong Universe franchise, while Rare staff would get up to 15 votes, 3 for each Donkey Kong Universe franchise. Now, what constitutes a Donkey Kong Universe franchise, you might be asking? Well, there are 5. Number 1, Donkey Kong, consisting of the Donkey Kong Country and Land series, Diddy Kong Racing, Donkey Kong 64, Peon's games, and those damned bongo titles. Number 2, Banjo, all games under the BANJO-TOOIE banner. Number 3, Conker, every Conker game, and you better believe that includes Pocket Tales, along with the other 2. It's an important franchise. Number 4, DKU Star Fox, Star Fox Adventures, Star Fox Assault, and Star Fox Command. Basically, every Star Fox game that began with Rare's brief creative control over the franchise, upon which they introduced contagions from the Donkey Kong universe that have affected it ever since, which is probably why Nintendo has quarantined it. Number 5, Fish and Pants, the BANJO-KAZOOIE spin-offs. You know, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, It's Mr. Pants, and Viva Pinata. These are games that came after Rare's purchase by Microsoft, all featuring a cameo or starring role by a character originally introduced in the Banjo games. Still wondering how it works? So am I. Here's Rare employee Chris Alcock with an exclusive inside look at his voting process.
Donkey Kong series. Number 1, Dixie Kong. Never needed rescuing, never twisted her ankle, never stuffed into a refrigerator, although that'd probably be quite pleasant if you live in a jungle. Anyway, busting tropes with the same grace as she busts barrels, Dixie's the quintessential Kong. She's as nimble as Diddy, but her oddly prehensile ponytail gives her horizontal movement for days. In fact, Dixie's so great, it may be a blessing she wasn't in DK64, because her special attack would probably have blown up the sun or something. Number 2, Cranky Kong. Thanks to the instruction manual being littered with his scathing put-downs and sardonic meta-references, he charms and amuses the player from the minute they open the box, even before they've managed to lower the cartridge reverentially into their SNES, like a digestive being dunked into a particularly fine cuppa. Certainly, Cranky's getting on in years and can't remember whether he's DK's dad or his granddad, and it's entirely possible he accidentally murdered his wife. Not canon. But his wit and gaming knowledge will surely keep him at the forefront of the Kong family tree, and our hearts, for years to come. Number 3, Cackle. Resident of DKC2's haunted hall, he's the ghost of a pirate who lives in a stately home whose bottom half is a sword for no discernible reason. I mean, how did Cackle die? Where are his legs? What weapon were they attached to? How does his house have a roller coaster in it? I mean, much like the ending of Lost, the answer can only be that Diddy and Dixie were dead from the moment they arrived on the island. Spoilers. Not canon. Banjo-Kazooie series. Number 1, Jiggy. Players have doubtlessly become desensitised by now, but it's worth remembering that upon their entrance to Gruntilda's lair, there's a forgotten Jiggy spinning idly upon a nearby mound of mulch. When Banjo scoops it up, the Jiggy utters a brief and welcoming speech, brimming with purpose and self-awareness. It wants nothing more than to slot itself into puzzle frames so that Banjo and Kazooie can save the day, rescue Tootie, and put paid to Gruntilda once and for all. At which point, Kazooie eats it! This horrifying act of senseless hedonism would go on to underpin the morality of the entire Banjo series, especially Canary Mary. Number 2, White's Jinjo. The Jinjos in BANJO-TOOIE are distributed randomly throughout the world, meaning that luckless players could, in theory, find they're unable to reunite any of the stricken families until very late in the game. There's only one white Jinjo though, which means all you have to do is reach him and a Jiggy is yours. No ifs, no buts. The white Jinjo has heard of emergent gameplay and doesn't much care for the notion. Number 3, Saberman. Is this cheating? I don't care, Saberman's brilliant. Conker series. Now, this is a tricky number 1. I mean, not many of the people that Conker meets are actually all that likeable, and that's rather the point. But given the many hours I spent as a Teddy manning the rocket launcher in the beach multiplayer mode, though, I have to give him a special shout-out. I'm not sure he even has a name, so I'm just going to call him Dr. Giggles McSplode, at least until someone corrects me. Skibado! Star Fox Adventures series. Number 1, the Thorntail Hollow Shopkeeper. For his lengthy introduction to his dodgy and counterintuitive methods of haggling, the shopkeeper is a rare character through and through. He's condescending, he's smug, and he manages to maintain an air of arrogant superiority despite his business clearly being unviable. I mean, how many dinosaurs are you going to get in your store when you've got to climb up and down a cobblestone wall just to get inside? That's too low! Number 2, Tricky. No, wait, hear me out, it's because... Oh, you've gone. Number 3, I was only joking about Tricky, please come back. Oh. Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Viva Pinata, Mr. Pants, etc. Well, number 1 is Mr. Pants, obviously. It's all very well for studios to try and make their characters gritty by giving them an alcoholic disorder and some stubble, but Mr. Pants was tackling the larger social issues years ago. When he's not rescuing his illicit mistress from her husband so that they can continue their extramarital affair, he's dealing with wax-based puzzles in an attempt to beat off a threatening snake. That came out wrong. There can be no argument brokered. While Joanna Dark, Rash and Zitz may think they're fighting a good fight, Mr. Pants has seen beyond the veil. He knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men. He's got it all down on his clipboard. Number 2, Gretchen Fetchum. The most notorious, feared and admired bounty hunter in the cosmos. Or at least she would be if she hadn't had the sheer misfortune to be stuck in the Viva Pinata universe. As it is, poor Gretchen makes the best of things, going on late-night hunts for nocturnal pinatas when she'd really rather be smacking space pirate heads together and uncovering strange alien power suits. If only that job hadn't been taken. Number 3, Hunchy. The hunchback from Grabbed by the Ghoulies, for no other reason than I managed to sneak a line of his dialogue into the game as part of a testing process. And if shameless self-congratulation isn't the point of a Hall of Fame, then why, precisely, am I wearing this cummerbund?
Terrific! It might not take a lot of balls to vote the way he did, but it definitely required all cock. So, after tallying all the votes, 5 characters beat out all others. First, let's take a look at the runner-ups. Marvelous characters all around, and undoubtedly future Hall of Famers in their own right. However, they'll have to wait another year. Without further ado, we bring you the DK Vine Character Hall of Fame Class of 2013.
Hello, it's me, Helmost the Dreadfully Evil, DK Vine's otherworldly evil E3 2013 mascot. I'm here live via webcam in hell. They brought me onto this to announce the winners and have some people explain to you why they won. In joint third place is Ted the Boatbuilder from CONKER'S Pocket Tales.
A relative nobody getting more votes than the likes of Donkey Kong might seem questionable if you aren't a Donkey Kong Universe fan, but that's why we didn't ask you to vote. Ted the Boatbuilder, first and only appearing in 1999's CONKER'S Pocket Tales, is a character we know both little and everything about. A minor NPC who, well, builds you a boat, he's a man of mystery and very few words. Yet, despite this, he's become our answer to the guy in a cave who gives you a sword in the original Legend of Zelda. An unhealthy dose of jokes about him led to genuine appreciation, and he's one of the prime examples of Rare putting a shocking level of detail into their games. He never refers to himself as Ted in dialogue. It's only seen on a sign hung in his shop. He's also a representation of the Master Acorn People race as a whole, and a subset of characters that the Donkey Kong universe adores up to the point of indecent public exposure. Cheers, Ted. After you finish building that boat, you better build a mantle, because you've just won yourself a Hall of Fame trophy.
Also enjoying third place is Roysten the Goldfish from off of BANJO-KAZOOIE.
Goldfish may not have a 3-second memory, but poor Roysten has good reason to wish they did. Too long he's been floating around in his cramped little bowl in Banjo's house, always uncomfortably close to the piping hot stove which serves to remind him that, for some unfathomable reason, goldfish is the food of choice on the Isle of Hags. Of course, when he's not being served up by his close friends with tartar sauce and the side of chips, or being crushed under a boulder gasping for air, or functioning as a hood ornament for whatever abomination of engineering comes out of Mumbo's garage, it's not hard to imagine why he feels the need to get away once in a while. He'll travel far and wide across the rare island chain from Ghoulhaven Hall to Pinata Island, only for the Stockholm Syndrome to set in and see him back to Banjo's house once more, where he's free to work off the extra polygons with some tapping exercises. For this, we raise up our glasses and say, cheers to you, Roysten, our worldly and resilient goldfish friend.
In second place is Tricky the Triceratops from off of Diddy Kong Racing. And there's Star Fox games probably.
Hi, Jeff Onan here. You might remember me from such programs as Jeff Goes to the Zoo, Jeff in the City, and Jeff, the 20-year reunion special. I'm here to say a piece on Tricky the Triceratops, perhaps the most influential alien dinosaur living on Earth today. Tricky, or Trichard as he's formerly known, was an outstanding leader, a loving father, and most of all, a hypnotized racing opponent. Tricky was born Prince of the Earthwalker tribe at a time of rising turmoil on Dinosaur Planet. He bravely faced great threats at the hands of the Sharpclaw coup, and later the Aproid invasion, forcing him into the leadership role of a devastated civilization. He was also pretty annoying, to be honest, but with his innocence taken from him, he was forced to mature and lead his people to their only refuge, which was of course an interstellar migration to Timbers Island from Diddy Kong Racing. With his people safely scattered about the rare island chain, he relinquished his sovereign authority and settled for a simple life of fathering children and racing talking animals. For safely guiding his people to salvation and then willingly giving up his power, we commend Tricky the Triceratops, and forever solidify him in the annals of Donkey Kong fan history. Well done, kid. Well done, kid, indeed.
In joint first place, it's Diddy Kong.
Diddy Kong! We all know Diddy Kong, right? Yeah, you know, he's got like, he's got like a hat, a red hat. Yeah? And he wears that vest, yeah? You know, that vest that's obviously ridiculously too small for him. I mean, I don't know if he's actually noticed, but, well, I mean, someone should really, like, tell him or something. It's embarrassing. Well, I say that, maybe Diddy Kong knows perfectly well his vest is ridiculously too small for him, but he wears it anyway, because that's the sort of guy he is. Actually, that's what's great about Diddy Kong. Reckless confidence in the face of even the most ridiculous situations. Or vest choices. Actually, the really good thing about Diddy Kong is that unlike other sidekicks in other video games, he was never really left to the, side. Not only was he able to live up to the adventuring standards set by his adventuring counterpart Donkey Kong, but in fact he immediately usurped him. As it is, Diddy Kong has appeared as a playable character in more Donkey Kong Country games than Donkey Kong. Slam, Donkey Kong, how do you like them apples? Bananas. Well, never mind. Also, he had his own racing game called Diddy Kong Racing and it was ace, better than Mario Kart by miles. Oh, and come to think of it, I've got a theory about that vest, which is that he's been wearing it for so long that it's actually become ingrained into his own flesh, and that if he ever tried to take it off, it'd end up tearing off his own skin. It's just a theory, though. I mean, actually, come to think of it, I probably didn't need to mention that. Anyway, Diddy Kong's brilliant. Shut up.
And finally, Also in joint first place, it's Mr. Pants. And I think that's all I have to say, so I'm going. Fuck off.
Hello, I'm Joe Mudd, and I'm here to tell you all about Mr. Pants. Mr. Pants has been voted the best DKU character of all time, and with good reason. When I first met Mr. Pants in a bar in Pantsfordshire, I was immediately charmed by the man. Good looks, powerful charismatic voice, and a sexy, sexy pair of pants. So I went up to him, and the first thing he said to me was, "Buy me a drink." I was utterly charmed at his honesty, and I bought him 2 drinks. Later that year, I discovered that my wife was cheating on me for Mr. Pants, and, well, as you can imagine, I was a bit upset, but he came up to me and he said, "Oi, she's mine now, fuck off." And I thought, well, this is a man who gets things done. As the years have gone by and Mr. Pants has stolen my car, burgled my house, and molested my children, my love for him has only grown stronger. Therefore, I feel a man of such charm and such great strong moral fibre deserves to take the #1 spot as DK Vine's best DKU character. He was also in, like, this Game Boy Advance game or something.
Let's give a big hand to our 5 Hall of Famers. And a very special thanks to all who voted for this prestigious event, especially the current and former employees of Rare, who really should be above this kind of tomfoolery. Also, don't forget to visit dkvine.com for more great original content, including our unnecessarily high number of podcasts and audio shows. It's free, what do you fucking want?
The DK Vine Hall of Fame was scripted by Hyle Russell, edited by Matt Corner, and featured in order of appearance Hyle Russell, Chris Alcock, Matt Corner, Chad McKenna, Cameron Regal, Jeff Onan, and Joe Mudd. With thanks to the following rare people for taking part in this absurd project: Chris Alcock, Robin Beanland, Grant Kirkhope, and one other who didn't let us know whether we could use his name or not, so we'll just say that it's absolutely, definitely not Lee Loveday. Unless it is.